Hi everyone. So today we're going to be talking about a few simple array methods that we can use, starting with forEach and map and filter. These are just ways that we can get data in and out of an array in different forms. So let's start off by just making sure we've got our files. I've already created mine. So we have a HTML file and a Javascript file. Doesn't matter what you call them as long as they are connected up correctly. So in my array methods.html I have created the boilerplate. I've just added the script tags at the end of the body and linked them to my array methods.js, which I have open here. And just to make sure that they are connected, let's just do a quick console.log just to show that this is working. There we go, so we know that that is running because we have the output here in my browser. So I can get rid of that and we can start playing with some functions. So let's start by just creating an array so that we can actually start getting to work. So let's add some data in there. I'm just going to use some numbers. You can use whatever you like. I'm just going to be manipulating numbers in this tutorial, but you can do much more than that. So we've got a simple array. Now, how do we use forEach and what do we use it for? So the forEach method will run a function that we give it on each individual item, and it will return whatever value we tell it to return from that function. So simply, let's go straight ahead and do an array.forEach, and it's important to use a capital letter for each. And we need to give it a name for each individual item when we feed it in. So it needs a argument name. Oops, it needs an argument name. So I'm going to call each of those individual items X because I'm only using one argument, and this is ES6 syntax. I do not need to put brackets around my argument. And I am going to return from each function, each run of the function, I'm going to return X times 2. However, I'm actually going to console.log X times 2, so just wrap that in a console.log. And now if I run that, we get 5 individual outputs. So we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So the first number that got fed in was 1. Times it by 2, we get 2 here. Second was 2, we times it by 2, we get 4 here, and so on. So we have 5 individual outputs from running a forEach. So let's do a .map and see what the difference is. So whereas with a forEach we're running the function against each individual item once, with a map we're actually creating a new array of items with the results that are come from running the function on the original array. So let me show that by first of all creating as a new constant, which we'll call mapped array. And very similarly, we want to go array, and then we call out the name of the actual array method, which is map. And again, we can feed in X as the value we want to give, the name we want to give, and then we want to return something. And because we're not actually returning values explicitly, we're actually creating an array here, we want to return a value from the function so that it can be fed back into the new array. So we need to use the return keyword. And then, same as before, we'll do X times 2. Having done that, we now need to feed that back somewhere so that we can actually see that it's worked. So you can see the difference here is when we did the forEach, we got 5 individual outputs. When we do the map method, we get an array of those individual outputs. and because it's an array, it's a little more permanent. Now, another method we can use, similar to mapping, is filter. But the difference here is filter will select out items specifically based on criteria given. So whereas before we were using map to just run through every item in the array and return something from that item, filter will go through each item in the array and it will pick out items which match a certain criteria. So it's the same setup. We will say const, and we'll call this one filtered array or filtered R, and then as before R dot filter this time instead of dot map, obviously, and again we'll give it the X as its name, and we shall now need to run a test to see what actually we are filtering. So what do we want to filter? In this case, let's say we want to filter anywhere where X equals less than 3. Or let's say less than or equal to 3. So there we go. And then we will say console.log filtered array or filtered R, and see what happens now. So this time we get 1, 2, 3, because this time we are running through the array, but we are only returning values which match this comparison. And this comparison was X is less than or equal to 3. So 1, 2 and 3 are all less than or equal to 3, and the last two items 4 and 5 are more, so they do not get included in the new array. Thank you for watching another video of Code with Dave. Feel free to share and subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you all soon.